Welcome back to Weekly.tv. I'm your host, Eddie San Marco. This is the co-host, Jason San Marco.
Hello.
We got a couple of more stories left for you guys. I think 3 stories left. The next story we're going to be talking about is Larry Summers and Janet Yellen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that people who are following the news lately know who Larry Summers is, or if they follow the news since the Clinton years, they probably know who that is.
Yep.
But the reason why that he is in the news is that he is one of the front runners for the position of the Fed chair.
Yep.
The other front runner is Janet Yellen, and Jason's got to tell us a little bit about who she is, because I kind of feel, and I think Jason, you agree with me, that a lot of emphasis has been put on Larry Summers, but not really Janet Yellen, who I am a proponent for.
Right.
So go ahead.
Okay, so I have some information and some background for Janet Yellen. She has been the president and chief executive officer of the San Francisco Fed since 2004. She served as Fed governor from August 94 through February 97. Then she left the Fed to become chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under President Bill Clinton.
Seems like she has a pretty good resume.
So far.
So far, so good.
That was through August of 99, and then from 1977 to 78, she served as a staff economist on the Fed's board of the governors in the Division of International Finance.
Fancy.
Right. She has voted 36 times in her current position.
Okay.
As a member of the Federal Open Market Committee, and she's always voted with the majority.
Cool.
So she sounds like a pretty good proponent. Now, the reason why you and I are both advocates of her is because she is a huge proponent for GlassSteagall.
Okay.
Right. So everybody knows, well, not everyone, but some people know what GlassSteagall is.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So for those of you who do not know what GlassSteagall is, I'm going to go ahead and pull out my notes here. I do know what it is, but I want to make sure that I get all my facts correct.
Mm-hmm. And then I will go after you got your notes, reading of your notes. I will go ahead and talk about what my interpretation of GlassSteagall is.
Okay. GlassSteagall was enacted in 1933.
Mm-hmm.
And what it did was it forced banks to keep their commercial and their investments separate.
So depositor money is separate
from their commercial investments. Correct.
So they were basically 2 different entities.
In a sense, yes.
Yes.
So essentially, when you are a customer of the bank, you go and you make a deposit. You assume that your deposit money is not going to be used for risky bets.
Okay.
You used to be able to assume that.
Sure.
We know that that's no longer the case.
Okay.
Okay.
Because of the repeal of GlassSteagall.
Because of the repeal of GlassSteagall.
Which, by the way, was done in the Clinton years.
Yes, it was.
Big mistake.
Yep.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. So, that's Janet Yellen. Larry Summers is the other runner for the Fed chair, and
True.
Obama has been sort of pushing him a little bit more.
I think they're best friends. I think they have lockets.
Okay.
And then
with their pictures.
Larry Summers has a picture of Obama in his locket.
Perhaps they have one half of one hole.
Yes, it's a connecting locket.
Okay.
And then Obama has Larry Summers in there. I know that recently Obama was defending Larry Summers.
He was.
And there was an aide inside of a meeting, of a secret meeting, and he spilled his beans. But he is not known. We don't know who he is because he wanted to be kept a secret.
Right. Which is probably pretty important when
right.
you have our current White House administration going after people
yes.
who are spilling their beans.
Exactly. So he said that, and he was kind of he was basically saying that Obama was pissed.
Right.
That people were talking shit about Larry Summers, which is what this person had said.
Okay.
That Obama said, you shouldn't be talking shit about Larry Summers. He's a good friend of mine.
Right.
He's a good guy. And I don't think that's appropriate.
Which leads me to believe that more than likely he's the one that's going to be nominated.
Well, this is why we have to have pressure. We have to put pressure on the administration to nominate people or to put people in positions that we want him to do.
Right.
If we don't put any pressure on him, he's just going to nominate whoever the hell that the the mainstream thinking is wanting to put him. So the banks want to put Larry Summers in because he is what was he, the chairman of Chase or something like that?
I have a couple of things here that couple of reasons.
And this is a very important position because this position basically puts up ideas on regulatory reform for the banks,
right?
And they're in charge of the money.
Exactly.
So
okay, so let me just a few things about Larry Summers.
Go ahead.
I really don't want to talk about him that much because he is a terrible candidate.
Plus, he's getting a lot of information out. A lot of people are talking about him now. Right. Nobody's really, especially in the mainstream media, nobody's really talking about Janet Yellen. Mm-hmm. Everybody's talking about Larry Summers and why he's such an awesome guy.
Okay, so Larry Summers, he pushed to repeal the Glass-Steagall Act in '99. He's the one that, or he's one of the...
He was like the spearhead of it.
Exactly. Which we know is...
What eventually led to our financial collapse.
Correct. He is still...
Not, by the way, I want to preface that with, it wasn't the only thing that led to the collapse.
Right.
But it was a big part of it.
Yes, it was one of the main things.
One can argue that the housing bubble had a lot to do with it, which I agree that it has some to do with it, something to do with it. But repealing Glass-Steagall and the banks merging together and those banks doing extremely risky bets,
right,
and all these derivative swaps.
Well, in lieu of what you just said,
okay,
he was hostile to a proposed addition to the DoddFrank law.
Okay. Which is basically watered down anyway.
Right. Which would have broken up the mega banks into smaller banks. Which, of course, in the beginning would have pushed our economy back a bit.
Yeah.
But in the long term, it would have been, in my opinion, much, much more beneficial.
If you look at Iceland as an example,
and
I don't remember if it's Iceland or Greenland.
Thomas,
get that info for us.
Yeah.
Iceland or Greenland.
Right now, sir.
I believe it's Iceland. When the financial crisis kind of happened.
For them.
For the world.
Right.
It was kind of a domino effect. They jailed the CEOs of the banks. And they not only did they not allow this crazy two-bank merge type of deal, but they nationalized the banks.
Right.
So that did kind of put them back, like you were saying, for a year or two. But now they're the fastest growing economy in the world.
Exactly. So, I mean, we should be setting those examples. Do you agree? Okay.
I totally agree.
Okay. Which we're not.
No.
We're setting examples, just not good ones.
Thomas, you got which one was it?
It looks like Iceland.
Yes!
Okay. Iceland. I win. He is a paid consultant of Citigroup.
That is horrible.
And he does similar work for NASDAQ, the hedge fund D.E. Shaw, the venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz, and Alliance Partners.
See, now some people would say, well, he knows his crap.
Right.
He knows banking.
Yes.
He knows money. He knows finance.
Right.
And he was Obama's one of Obama's top advisors for the economy from 2008 to 2011, I believe. So a lot of people would say he knows his shit. So he should be the guy to be the Fed chair.
If you're going to hold a position like Larry Summers is trying to, or if you're going to hold any type of office outside of being like a mayor,
sure,
right? So a very small office or being on a town council, something like that.
Okay.
Do you think that that you should be a Fed chair, a state senator, and that's it?
So you're saying limit my opportunities to be able to move up? I would say no.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that you should not have another job. Because if
you're at that level,
yes.
Because the Fed chair, let's be honest, gets paid pretty good.
Right.
Okay. Now, the people that normally get that job are people in finance.
Right.
And when we think of a job, we think, because we both have jobs,
yes.
We think of a 40-hour work week.
Okay. Well,
So when people like Larry Summers has a job,
Yeah.
that means board meetings,
yeah.
maybe a couple times a month. Not necessarily just board meetings, but other meetings as well.
Well,
And then,
I might disagree with that.
okay, I don't agree that he should be the Fed chair.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is a conflict of interest
Mm-hmm.
because the Fed is giving the banks money directly.
Right.
But I don't believe it's a conflict of interest because they're doing the same thing. Because I don't think because they're not doing the same thing.
Well, you could argue that he might be putting forth or agreeing with legislation that could be in his own benefit.
Exactly. That's why I say he shouldn't be.
Right.
I think it is a conflict of interest based upon the fact that the Fed gives the banks money,
Oh, right.
and so he could be making decisions to maybe get Citigroup more money.
Oh, that's my point.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.